Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Hey, welcome to this episode of the Note Closure Show. Always glad to have you guys here, especially on Monday, where we talk about money activities or activities and strategies that will help make you money in this business. And I've gotten a question a couple times over the past couple of weeks from some of our WCN crew members, specifically when it comes to some of the tapes that you guys have been bidding on. And I thought I would share how we track down who either A, bought an asset that we missed out on, or who sold an asset or tape that we missed out on, or who was actually the seller of a tape that we didn't bid on, like from the competition. And I know this might ruffle some feathers of folks out there watching, but it's important to realize that you can find out where a tape came from. And it's important to understand it because why would I want to go direct to the seller of these? Well, in case you're dealing with a joker broker or somebody who's clogging up, you know, the machine of making offers and making sure your bids are accepted or not accepted, stuff like that. It's important because half of the bids that we actually end up closing on, if I look back at what we've bought over time, half of what we've closed on came on the second round, 30 days after our bid was not accepted, or we weren't, we weren't the highest, or the tape got sold to somebody else. And like I said, that's important. Or it wasn't an asset we bid on, but we wanted to track down who the seller was. Is this making sense a little bit, Tori? Hopefully, I'm about as clear as mud today on a Monday. But anyway, what I want to get into is it's frustrating when I make bids and bids don't get accepted, any of them, or the bids are way too freaking high. I'm like, how are they? You smoking crack on the bids? We had some stuff come back from some of the reverse mortgages that we bid on Friday, bids or last week, and bids came back Friday. And on the Texas stuff, it was just ridiculously high. Now I got a bid accepted in Florida and North Carolina. A few others got bids accepted in Virginia and other areas, which is great. But also some of the counters in Texas were ridiculously slow. So um, I'm not going to go through that tape to show you who the seller of that tape is, but I'm going to go through a previous tape that we bid on that's given some time now that maybe assignments have been recorded to see who was the buyer of that tape or who was the seller of that tape. All right. And you can do this if your county records allows for you to search. Some you have to log in and create a login, and that's okay. Get a membership to it. We're not going to print anything out. We're just going to use it to actually find the context. Now, this is very, very key for everybody out here. People always say, "Oh, you can't find note tapes." Well, this is literally how you find note tapes. You find out who the seller is or who the buyer is, who got transferred, and you can go that route. Now, a lot of times I'm buying direct from the sellers anyway, so I know who holds the asset. Okay, I'm rarely going through brokers. I do have a couple brokers that I do go through, but they're Wall Street brokers that get tapes in all the time from people. So I'm like, yeah, I don't mind going through them. I'll find out through due diligence who the seller is, and we'll be hunky dory and go from there, right? But back in March, I was really excited about a tape with some stuff, some legacy stuff that had been around a while. And by legacy, that means that the tapes literally have been around for a while. They've either the assets have moved hands a couple times as either a lender is closed or they sold. It's not with the original bank or lender that originated. It's been around for a while. And seasoning too, they may have been around for 10, 15 years. So a lot of it's have been, the balances may be smaller in a lot of cases. All right. So I kind of want to walk you through this aspect of things. The most important thing before I dive into the county records for you guys to take a look at it, I feel free to ask questions. Okay, ask questions along the way as I go through this, and I'm going to do it in Texas here because Texas is relatively easy to find stuff. It might be a little difficult in other areas. Like I said, if you got to sign up for a membership with the county recorder's office or the county clerk, then do that. It's going to add stuff to you. And this is one of the things that has been around for years. When I got started as a mortgage broker years ago, okay, back when we started Aerial Capital with my buddy Boyd, one of the things that I did is I took my knowledge when I was a banker at Chase, okay? And one of the things that I excelled at when I was a banker at Chase was small business banking, which is different because where does the mortgage side go to it, right? So what I would do when I was at Chase is I knew I would get paid more and my branch would get paid more if we opened up business accounts, right? Business accounts had a higher perk, higher commission than just a regular normal checking account. So one of the things I would do is I would go to the county recorder's office, the county clerk, and I would look for DBAs, newly fined DBAs, and I would look in the zip codes around where my bank or my branches were located at. Now I opened up about 20 different Chase branches here in Austin, Texas, and that's not fibbing. I was on they called it a sea of blue because I didn't mind networking as outgoing or garish. But when I finally settled at a bank in South Austin, we became the #1 business banking the first month we were open because I used some of the county records tricks to do things above and beyond. So I would go to the local county recorder's office, county clerk. I would look at DBAs. I would literally download that list from the county records office, and I would look at people around, who had zip codes around where my branch was, or within a 5-mile radius. Stuff where, okay, what's zip code say? And then we would target those people. I would literally jump online and dial for dollars, and we're sending a postcard and say, hey, we had an awesome business checking account, business, no fees, no, stuff like that. And we would even have a networking event once a quarter in our bank. Yes, we would bring in beer and wine, and after hours, we'd stay up until 7 o'clock and just network with local businesses. And we shot off the roof because it led to deposits, it led to CDs, it led to loans, business loans, lines of credit. This is how I became the #1 banker in Austin and a top 10 banker in Texas for Chase, right? So when I moved into the mortgage side, I did the mortgage side. I said, well, why don't I use the county records to find people who financed their house 5 years ago, who bought a house 5 years ago? Because at that point, rates would change, and they would probably have a little bit of equity, and they would be beyond any prepayment penalty, and we would use that to originate refinances. Because I kind of learned that a little bit from the Chase side, too, because they had a 5-star customer service program to follow up with people who had bought a house 5 years ago in the area, it was great. So I just went and applied that to the mortgage business. And then I would do the same thing when I was a note buyer initially, is tracking down who bought the note. And the first note that I tracked down was on a 4-unit commercial building off of Airport Road here in Austin, Texas. I was really excited about this property. It had a washateria on one side. It had a cash checking place as a tenant. It had a pawn shop, and then it had a Domino's Pizza. It was 4 tenants in the spot. Well, I missed out on buying it because supposedly the note got sold, all right, and the note got sold, and then they modified it and they pulled it off of the sales. I said, well, I wonder who got into it. So I looked at the county records. I tracked down that it was Greenpoint Mortgage. That was AKA Capital One's commercial business. And that's led to me making a connection with Capital One to get on their buyers list for all their deals, their tapes, their assets, and stuff like that. And this is something, it takes a little bit of extra effort, but it can be very, very rewarding for you. And you can actually find doing some cool things in an area to find who a bank or a lender is selling the notes in your entire county. If there's a lot of assignments being transferred, stuff like that, you can find out who they're selling to, and vice versa, what lenders are selling to what, okay? So like I said, this is a really cool strategy to actually find people who are signing off on the assignment of mortgages, the buyers and the sellers of that tape, so that if you missed on it, you can reach out to the buyers, because not every seller is going to give you access. That's one of the things I asked. If my bids aren't accepted, well, could you at least make an introduction to who outbid me, so I can maybe buy a couple notes from them anyway? And sometimes they'll do that, and other times they don't want to do it. And that's okay, fine. If they don't want to tell me, I'll just wait a month or 2 months till the actual assignment of mortgage gets recorded, and then I can go find out who actually bought it. If they don't ever record the assignment, then I'm stuck Chuck not knowing who the buyer was. But I could still go find oftentimes who the lender is, who is the seller of that note, by doing a deep dive into the county records. Now, the first thing you got to do when you get a tape is obviously look at the address. And let me just share this with you. So I've got this tape from back in March. All right, so it was 72. It was a legacy portfolio of 72 notes that my bid was originally accepted. And then then the seller found the actual seller found a higher buyer than my bids, and they sold the whole damn thing, which aggravated the shit out of me because I was really excited about this tape. But anyway, it was a tape of 72, and I got 52 accepted originally. So what I did is I narrowed it down to just the Texas assets, because Texas is pretty easy to search in, okay? If you're searching in like Wayne County in Michigan, California, Washington State, Oregon State, it may be a little harder to search, okay? But I have the address of the property. I don't know who the borrower's name, because this came from the spreadsheet. This is the actual spreadsheet. So you can see this is property in San Antonio, Texas, which is Bexar County. It's a performing note. And the reason I just narrowed it down to Texas so I can look at these real fast. And like I said, this is from, if you look at this tape, we go to the info here. One of the great things you look at, see who the info is. So I was the creator of this, and you can see, make sure you can see my screen here, which is good, that this tape was created March 17th, 2025, which I created. I was the author of it because I copy pasted it over to it. But if you get a tape in, this is one thing you can immediately do is go see, okay, who is the seller of it, by looking at the date and looking who the related people are in the last month. So it's by me, okay? I copy pasted this over to work on it, all right? So the first thing we got to do is, since I don't have the borrower's name on this, because the borrower is going to be key to search at the county recorder's office, the county clerk, okay? The address is very important too, okay? So I have the date here. I have the address, 5846 Bowsprit Street, San Antonio, Texas, okay? This is a performing note, okay? They financed 62,000. They currently owe about 20,000, okay? Now what's important is to look at when the mortgage was originated, because if you're going to be searching for deeds and stuff like that, assignments, you want to make sure to identify when the mortgage was created roughly, because then you're usually going to see an assignment recorded within 30 days, usually the latest of when. So the first date was basically June 9th. So that means it was originated, since I don't have the origination date on here, probably around April, okay? April 1st or May 1st. Somewhere between April and May, sorry. I would stick more to probably May, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that address, 5846 Bowsprit, and I'm going to go over to the county recorder's office, okay? All right, so we're going to go click over here. So if I go to Metro Online, I'm going to pick Bexar County, right? Bexar County. I'm going to go just to the data online. I'm going to click on their assessor's website to find out who the owner is, who's the current owner of it. Now, this is one thing you want to double check. Obviously, when you get a tape in, and it's got the borrower's name, you want to match up, make sure that the borrower's name, the tape matches up with the assessor's website. It's really important. If it doesn't, then you got a, what's going on, right? Now, if they don't have a name on it, then okay, they don't have a name. All right, so let's paste this in here. Let's do an advanced search. A little bit easier. Oh, hang on. Let me go back here and pull up the address again. 5846 Bowsprit. So just going to type in the address and hit search. Okay, so now it pulls it up here, and it gives me the name, Alvaro I. Garcia. Now, the I on this is very important because with the last name of Garcia in San Antonio, there's going to be a lot of names. It's a Hispanic name, that's fine. It's going to be a lot there. So let's go ahead and click on this to see all the information. Hit view details. And so I think that's also important is now that we have the name Garcia Alvaro, which we'll look at, you also want to pay attention to the legal description because that can come in handy in knowing something that's going on. So Garcia Alvaro. Okay. So now what we want to do is go on over to the actual clerk, Bexar County clerk, or in a lot of cases, for you guys, it may be the Bexar or the recorder's office, whatever you're looking to say. All right. Now we're looking something here in Texas, okay? Trying to find out who the lender was, owner of these tapes of 79 and who they sold, how they own them. So what we're going to do now, all right. So we're at the land records here. This is the right website. What we want to do is we're going to type in the borrower's name. So we're going to go back here to Bexar County and copy Garcia Alvaro, pronounce it correctly. Oops. And we're going to click on here. We're going to click on that and hit search. Okay. Now, the great thing is there's a lot, Alvaro. So what we want to do is probably go back here and do one more search, but add the I to it. All right, and hit search. There we go. Garcia Alvaro I. Now, what we want to do, because this is all over the place, the recorded date is all over the place, okay? So what we want to try to do is, if your county will allow you to do this, is click on the recorded date so it brings it from the latest to the most recent, okay? So 2025. All right, so we got to go back here to find something about 2022. All right, so we're going to go down here to, I'm sorry, 2002. And there we go, right down there. You see down here, May 14th, like I said, May 14th, 2002. And let's see, Obra Homes. This looks like it's about right. So let's click on this division name. And there you go, 99 block, Lakeland City. And that's the same thing we had up here on the legal address, NCB Lakeland City, did it block 46, lot 99. Okay. Now, some counties, when you're looking to their thing, they'll have like a lot number, and you can place that lot number in there and they'll search faster by that lot number, because a lot of times you'll end up with a whole bunch of stuff that you can't do anything with. Okay. So I clicked on it and you can see Obra Homes. This is the other, the grantor, grantee. And so the grant, basic Obra Homes is the lender. You can see that's the property there. Deed of trust. Okay, let's go back. See if there's another one. Here's the deed. There we go. Obra Homes and the deed. And if you look at this, you can go to the next page. You'll see there it is, 62,708, and it's got our right address, 5846 Bow Street. Okay, so we know that Obra Homes was kind of that aspect. So let's see what it does. We click on Obra Homes here and do a search for Obra Homes. It's probably going to pull up a bunch, because that was like the, there we go. So you see Obra Homes, deed, all this stuff that they've got here. All right, that's confusing. So it goes back, bump on recorded date, deed, Jackson, the grantor. Once again, hit the recorded date to organize it properly. Come on. What is going on? And we'll just scroll down here until we see lot 99. You see on the right-hand side, lot Texas State Bank originally. So division name. Yeah, see, so it was originally Obra Homes got financed by Texas State Bank earlier on. So it's basically a lot. They paid a ton for these. Yeah, paid $1 million consideration for all these lots, 92 through 99, which is, that's our lot, right? Okay, so it starts to tell a little bit of story. Texas State Bank, Obra Homes. Let's go back here. And now what we want to do is we go back to Obra Homes. Where does it got here? All right, so I already pulled this up for you. So if we go, this was, what was I looking for? Yeah, perfect. Let's go back here. Previous was, so I found that Obra Homes, we take it back here one more time. Where is it here? It's giving me issues here. Okay. So so now that I know that, okay, Obra Homes, let's just go back here and do a new search. Back to new search. Okay. Garcia Alvar Obra Homes. Okay. So what we want to do now. Not me to do that. Let me go back here one more time. Sorry, guys. Starting a little goofy here. All right. So there it is. We're back to the original thing, Obra Homes. And this is, when you search, okay, let me go back here. It's a different run. Let me just do it from the beginning again. Enter online, click on the clerk. Okay, so we know Obra Homes was the original, basically, who sold the house to him. So bear clerk. So let's type in Obra Homes. Just hit Obra Homes. And then what we're going to do is that we're going to do a document type. We want to see who they sold this note to. Okay. So if we're going to search, we're going to do assignment search. So just click in there and ISS. So assignment over the left-hand side, if we click on that, it says there's 25 assignments from Obra Homes. Okay. Now let's see if we can see the lot number down the side here. Can't see that. All right. Doesn't give us that. Okay, that's fine. So let's look through here and let's start clicking if we see some higher ones here. So you see who Oberholms was selling their loans to, like Civic Community, Wachovia Bank, Bayview Loan Servicing. So let's sort this document, let's sort the recorded date back to 2002, probably. Okay. 2015. Let's go back down here. All right, it should give us some more. Why is it not giving us some more on those? So what you can do also is look at the doc number. A lot of times the doc numbers are going to start by a year. Why is it giving me? All right, so let's look at the Bayview Loan Servicing here. Let's just click on subdivision name. So there you go. Okay, so that's the right stuff. That's okay. So you see on here, this isn't the right borrower, but it is the same area, the Lackland City, lot 16. Okay, so Oberholms for Elia Torres, looks like they were selling to Bayview Loan Servicing. Okay, let's go back one. And that was, let's look at another one here. Let's look at Wachovia Bank and see if they say anything on there. Oh, so they were selling to Wachovia Bank too. So they were selling them to a couple of them, okay, which is a good thing. Let's go back to the results. So we know. So let's just do, let's click on, I'm just looking at these dates here because it's usually a couple days. Let's see here. Let's do this. Let's go back to Bayview Loan Servicing. Hit search. Let's do a filter document type, assignment. So there's gonna be 3,184. Okay. That's a lot to go through, right? So let's do this. Let's resource this to document number. All right, so you start seeing document numbers 2004, 2004, 2004. You also start seeing subdivision names, legal descriptions. What you can do is, let's go through these real fast here. We don't want to go through all of them. Edit search criteria. Click on that. Let's try this. Search index, search. It's taking a little bit here. But we know Obro is selling to Bayview, right? Okay. Oh, look, it's got the grantee on here and the assignment. So let's try sort it by the grantee on that. And remember, our borrower's name is Garcia, Alvaro I. Garcia. And the great thing about this is once you get the assignment, well, see it popped, it's not putting them right in the same. Oh, we didn't change it by document type. Let's change it by document type assignment. My apology. Should have done that. That should help. There we go. And Bayview, you saw Bayview to Bayview. Well, Bayview Loan Services is the Bayview disposition. So that will happen. You'll see where they move it from one company to another company in the hopes of being able to sell it off. So we'll just click through these till we get to Garcia. Down here, there's gonna be a lot from Bayview. Come on. Okay. You can see Banco Popular sold stuff, Grand Tour to Bayview. You can see all these companies on here that they're buying notes from Capital Plus Inc., which gives you opportunities to see who's a note seller, right? So if let's do this. Let's change the recorded date here real fast, just so as you guys can see. Let's go back here. We'll tweak it up a little bit. Come on. Does it let me record it? Probably not. Let me sort by the lot number. No. I had the right person popped up here a minute ago. Give me 1 second here. Sorry, guys. Ah, it's working. Oh, there we go. Now it's going to sort by date or document number. Right, 2005. $20.20. Why is that debut? It doesn't make any sense. Let me just go back and do it again here. All right, sorry for it, guys. So let's do this. Let's type in the actual lady's name that we pulled. So Garcia Alvaro. All right, Garcia. Let's do a new search. All right, here we go. Garcia I. There we go. So 2000. I. And here you see lot 99. Remember I told you about the lot number being important? There you go. So you see, so what we want to do is look for the latest assignments on these. So Garvale I, Revolve Capital Group. Oh, look at that. Revolve Capital Group. That's a note seller. Let's just look at this. Let's just click on the actual document name. So 2019. WR Asset Trust sold it to Revolve Crap. Oh, yep. Yep. WR Asset Trust sold it. If you read these here, let's put these up because you can see it. For value received, WR Asset Trust herein assigner sell it to Revolve Capital Group. Okay. And so, yep, 58.46. So they sold it. WR Asset Group owned it. We go back here, back to search results. Or lot 99 here. So you can put these together. So US Bank ended up with it. And then Revolve Capital Group ended up with it. And that's PF. So Revolve then sold it to PSF1 Trust. And then Sendera Bank NA. Let's click on this one, make sure it's the right address. So they sold the whole portfolio. Let's go to the next page because it's a lot bigger than the 70 grand note, right? Let's see if it gives us a full list at the very end. Yep, see, there you go. Note dated, the original amount of 62,708. There you go. Exhibit A. Let's see, exhibit. So it's the recorded date. Okay, so look at Sendera Bank, assignee. And you have Ty Cooney, my commission is the Republic. But you have executive. So here's the thing. You just got a name now. We have a name right there. Sean P. Cleveland, Executive Vice President at Sendera Bank. There we go. All right. Let's go back to results. So you can pull names off all of it. So let's do this. Let's go to WR Asset Fund. Let's see here. Let's look at see Revolve Capital Group. Let's see who signed off on it for Revolve. Patrick Cardone. Yeah. He's the guy over at WR Asset Trust Company, Delaware Statutory Trust. All right, Patrick Cardone sold it then to Vol Capital Group. Oh, yeah, so that was sold to Revolve. Revolve sold it to PS F1 Trust. There's an address there for you. Okay. Casey Wilson. That's she's out of Casey Wilson's a notary document signer, does a lot. So authorized signer, so Revolve Capital Group. So you can reach out to Casey Wilson, or Revolve Capital Group. See who they have. So you see, we found like 3 sources right there. Okay. So this is 2021. So it still hasn't been who bought the asset that I missed on. So what we want to do is go to the latest one. So you can see here, PSF1, and then this got sold to Sedera Bank. Yep, but PSF1 Trust, Delaware Statutory Trust, on behalf of Series 2023, and Sendera Bank. Okay, and that's out of Bells, Texas. So there you go. Sendera Bank is who had it the latest, right? April 9th, 2024. So who they sold it to, I don't know, because it was part of a big portfolio, a $2.5 million portfolio, because that's what the consideration is. That's not for the whole note, but this is just one note out of it. Okay. We go over here. Whoops. Let's go back a couple pages. Yeah, 2.5 is part of consideration of this whole thing. And this is PS1 Trust. Okay. We already got Sendera Bank. Remember, we pulled that information already. There you go. Sean Cleveland. Lot 99. There we go. Lackland City. That's our borrower, 62,708. Okay. And then, all right, so back to the results. So that's the thing to look at. You can see by the date of the assignments how stuff is sold. So there's not been anything else yet regarding this property. This goes back to 2010. So this has been moved a couple times. So let's look at this. We can see it from JP Morgan Chase. This is just MERS. Okay, that's what it is. Assignment deed of trust. That, yeah, so it's just sold. Okay. Obra Homes to, there you go. All right. Question. So that's what you do. You should track down who the seller was. Now I could go back to these. Let's go back to results. So if we look at the dates on these, I could go back. I would still, Revolve is still around. You go to their website, they sell notes. PSF1 Trust Company, I can see who they are. And they also Sendera Bank. I know that they're selling notes. Okay, because they're the most recent one I ever sold it. They held it for a year before they sold it back in March, right? So does that make sense, everybody? Does that answer your question? Do you want me to go through a different one to kind of walk you through that process a little bit more? But the most valuable thing is, okay, seeing who the original lender is and then who the borrower is, tracking the borrower and then looking at the document types, assignments and stuff like that to see what pops up. Okay. Now I could do the same thing. Let's do this. Let's go back. If I want to see who all Revolve sells to, let's just go back in here and do a search, Revolve Capital Group. Hit a search. And okay, so there we see you see assignments. You can see who they bought from. Robert Stevens, Condor Capital, okay. Red Stick Acquisitions. This is the borrower's name. Another borrower's name. American Homeowner, okay. Atlantic Kirkland Financial, So that's 2021. Let's see if it'll let us do by recorded date and work from there. Maybe not. We can see Red Stick Acquisitions, and let's just click on that one. So Red Stick sold this to Mykonos Management LCD, doing business Revolve Capital out of Irvine, Texas. Okay. This is a mortgage for $50,400 back in the day. And this transaction was done on 2023. This was the assignment. So Casey Wilson is one of the, that's Marguerite over there, does a lot of document creation on assignments and launches and stuff like that, vendor we've used. So, Mykonos Management and Revolve Capital are the same thing. And this is the borrower, but Red Stick Acquisitions, let's see all who they sold to. Let's just look for Red Stick Acquisitions. Okay. So they've got some stuff as late as 2023 power of attorney, 2021. Let's click on one of these assignments to see what we can do, see if there's an address for Red Stick Acquisitions. So Red Stick Acquisitions LLC in Laguna Hills. So let's do this. Let's go to Red Stick Acquisitions. And just do LLC. Well, what's this? Somebody's looks like a borrower is suing. Yeah, suing. Goshen Mortgage. There you go. File a foreclosure action. Basically saying on here a false statement. So basically, anyway, Red Stick Acquisitions is a note buyer because they bought it from Goshen Mortgage back in the day. So let's go back here. Let's go back to our search and see if we can't find. Let's just find. Here we go. Red Stick Property Solutions. That might be them. Red Stick Property Solutions. There you go. Might be the borrower. There we go. We buy houses. Okay. Let's go back. Let's go back one more here. Rhode Island government, bit out of Rhode Island. Here we go. Red Stick Acquisition, state of in Florida, mortgage servicing company. There you go. They're out of Baton Rouge. That's our guy right there. There we go. George Calaberio. There you go. So if we look for George Caballero, you can reach out to him, say, hey, do you have any notes for sale? There you go. That's how you find the seller and the contact information. Does that make sense, everybody? I know it's kind of jumping from one thing to another, but that's the thing. The county records are all there for you. There's plenty of note sellers out there. And that's one thing. When you start seeing lists of notes available for sale or entity name or just the address, this is why I save every tape we've ever gotten in from a source. Because if I ever hit that dry spell where we're not getting stuff in, I can always, okay, who sent me this tape? And where did this tape come from? Who's the seller? Who's the buyer? Or who bought these assets that I can now reach out to? Okay. Comprende? Now I've got contacts to reach out to potentially say, hey, do you want to sell some of these notes off? Do you want to keep them? Knowing that they probably bought the whole tape for 2.5 million. Okay, that gives me a bit of an idea of what type of pricing. Now my bid came in at 1.8 on that whole tape. Okay, so I got outbid by 700 grand. Okay, well, maybe it makes sense to me to go back and make an offering to them on some individual one-off assets. All right, to see if they want to move some of this stuff. Because the performing stuff was at a pretty good price. I could still had a little room to work with there, but the non-performing stuff, I still had some room on that stuff that would make sense to go that route. So the reason they haven't filed the assignments yet, so now it's well, we're 8 months later. tells me they're still figuring it out, I think, in some cases. So it may be an opportunity for me to go back and say, hey, I think you bought this tape, and go from there. Now, I had the same thing happen years ago. A funny story. And this is the power of marketing. There was a tape that came in years ago. It was Chase Bank was selling this list of Texas assets. Okay. And in it, there were two of these condos in Austin. And I already bought a note on a condo here in South Austin at 2400 Burton Drive. Okay. And it was unit 101. And on the tape, unit 105 and 107 were available. It was a note purchase. They were selling these notes. I was like, oh, I actually own in the same complex this note that I'm starting the foreclosure process. I'm interested. So I made an offer on some of these tapes. I couldn't buy the whole thing. And actually, that's what it was. The seller Chase wanted an all or nothing. And I didn't have the funds to do all or nothing on it. Okay. Well, lo and behold, a month goes by. I actually went out and walked the complex on my unit 101 with a little video camera and posted, hey, here's what I'm walking through this complex. Here's the address on a note that I bought. I didn't state the actual unit number in the email, in the video title. I just said 2400 Burton condos walkthrough. It's just saying, hey, I was looking at buying this area, here's stuff like that. Well, lo and behold, like I said, about a week or two later, after the bid goes through, I get a phone call from a 917, which is New York City number. I'm like, I wonder what this is about. So I pick up the phone and the guy goes, yeah, hi, my name is Jack. I came across your video about the condos at 2400 Burton Drive of Oldthorpe there in Austin. Can you tell me about those deals? I'm like, yeah. I said, and I just took a wild guess. Rare. There was hardly anything else out there about those condos. That's why I did a video about it. And secondly, it's a 917. It's probably somebody in New York, maybe trading. I said, are you calling? And I just did a wild guess. Are you calling about unit 105 and 107? He goes, yes. How'd you know that? I said, well, I just took a gander. I'm a note buyer. And I figured a 917 number in New York, potentially another note buyer. And if you're calling about this, these things just sold. The whole tape sold me. So sure enough, Jack was the buyer of that whole tape. So Jack actually sold me those two notes at a quick markup. I think my bid was be at 18. My bid would have been at 15. He came back and said, well, I want them at 18. I'll sell them to you at 21 each. It's a $3,000 markup. He was wholesaling real fast. And I was like, I'll do those because they were valued about 60 or 70 back in the day, right? And so sure enough, boom, I stepped into it. And that was $1 million relationship that came from a video of me posting something about that address or that property and stuff like that, of what's available out there. And I just did a walkthrough, 2400 Burton condos walkthrough. I didn't went out on it, but if you're buying condos or stuff like that, that could be something to do for you if you're seeing debt on areas that you're looking at. This is why we do videos, of walkthroughs were available to do that. But just think about that, ladies and gentlemen. In this last 44, 45 minutes, think about that. How many note sellers did we help you just find? Unlimited number. It's just up to you to now use what you're talking about, what I showed you, to go find sellers, to go find buyers and make those connections directly. They're not teaching this at other places. Okay. And look, I have no somebody asked me the other day, I actually was on a podcast interview there, why do I go through all this stuff for you to share this good stuff? Because there's plenty of sources out there for you, plenty of opportunities for you if you know where to look. I mean, I was looking at the agenda of some upcoming and previous note conferences. They're not showing you how to go find deals. They're talking about theories. They're talking about this. They're talking about the state of the market. What you need to be a successful note investor is strategies to find deals. Okay. That's the most important thing that we focus on. Not only how to take them down and how to work them out, that's important, but how to actually find deals direct from sources. Nobody goes through this as far as I know. And this is an opportunity for you guys to take advantage, to go out and find sellers, find dealers. And then as you're getting tapes in, hey, reach out to me. Scott, I got a tape and I don't know what to do with. Oh, I'm here to help you. That's the whole reason we started teaching. So make sure to check out our upcoming schedule for our next 3-day workshop we have going on. If you go to notebuyingfordummies.com or go to our website, weclosenotes.com, check out the schedule. We've got an online virtual workshop in a couple weeks, and we also will be doing an in-person workshop, waiting for dates in January, February to come out. So we're looking forward to that. So anyway, guys, if there's no other questions, comments, concerns, we'll let you go for the day. Thank you so much for listening to this. This is how you find note sellers. All right. Direct from the source. And all you got to do is pick up the phone. Hey, I saw that you sold some notes. I'm a note buyer, note investor. Do you have anything in your books looking to get rid of this quarter or next? Can you add me to your investor list or your buyers list and go from there? Pretty simple. Use LinkedIn to find them. Use Facebook. Use Google Analytics like we just did, or Google search to find the folks and reach out to them. And that's what it's there for, everybody. Go out, take some action, buddy, and we'll see you at the top. Thanks, everybody. Bye. Hey, real estate investors. So you want to dive into the world of note investing, but don't currently have the funds to sign up for an expensive class or a workshop or one-on-one coaching. Well, then you definitely want to check out the biggest bang for your buck in the note world, and that's our WCN membership. It get you an all-you-can-learn access to our class workshop replays, tapes, weekly coaching calls. For $97 a month, it's the biggest bang of the note industry because you get access weekly with me. You can book one-on-one phone calls with me. As we get different tapes in, we'll share them with our members after our one-on-one coaching students get access to us. We share a variety of tools, like I said, replays to the previous workshop, special discount codes to other events that you can take advantage of to help you get more bang out of your dollar every month. We've been investing in notes for over 20 years, and one of my biggest passions is helping note investors, big and small, get started buying notes. Yes, I got started years ago with no money, no savings, and no list, and I love helping people close on their first deal, get their first private funding partner to help them fund more deals and help them both make above average returns. If you're looking for somebody to help you take your note investing from 0 to 60 and want to get started, my WCN membership is a great place to get started. Like I said, we upload lists to it, video training, coaching calls for $97 a month. What can go wrong? The only thing we ask is you hang around for 6 months, and then if you don't like it, you can cancel. But check it out at noteumbrella.com. That's noteumbrella.com. That's our WCN membership. Get looking at assets today. Start putting your fingers on the trigger to pull the trigger on some note deals here before too long. Yes, anybody can buy notes. I don't care your age, your savings, what race, color, whatever it is. Note investing is all about what action you take, and the first action you should take is signing up for our monthly membership at $97 a month. That's noteumbrella.com. You can also access by going to weekclosenotes.com and checking on the monthly membership. But we are here to help you. Scott Carson, the Note Guy. We look forward to seeing you at the top.